Hey guys, thought I'd come on here and do a bit of a overview of two cameras I recently obtained over the past few months. Now, in my recent pickups video that I did, I talked about the Reefer 1080 webcam that I have, as well as, well, that was about it, because I didn't mention the GoPro, which I got about a month or two ago as well, when we had our stimulus all sent to us thanks to the government. But anyway, getting on topic here, want to kind of do an overview / review of both cameras, the GoPro Silver, the GoPro 7 camera, whether it's silver or black, depends on your preference, and of course the Reefer 1080 HP webcam. So without further ado, let's get into this overview of both cameras. And we're going to start off, of course, with the GoPro. Now, the GoPro, basically, it's been around for quite some time, for like several years, about several years, I think about a decade now, and we're already into 7 and 8. It's kind of like a generational deal. And the GoPro is actually pretty good. The GoPro 7 and the GoPro 8 are the latest ones to come out, and they basically are widely known for having the same, I'm guessing, new functions as well as similar functions of past GoPros. But it's also known for kind of updating with the times, especially when it comes to video format. And what I mean by video format is, of course, if we can get it here, the 4K format, basically the 4K format, where if you have 4K, like a 4K monitor or a 4K television, you could watch the videos in spectacular 4K. And this is at 60 frames per second as well. Now, it's actually a pretty good camera. It is a pretty good camera. As a matter of fact, I've been using this, in case you've been noticing, for a lot of my videos lately, especially my unboxing videos, my package opening videos, and even some of my recent reviews. Like when I did the review on the Sally plush, I used this camera to do that review. So anyway, the camera is, like I said, it's actually pretty good. Here it tells you, here you have like a little LED screen or something, and it basically, when you switch from different formats, it lets you know, like, okay, what did you switch to? Like here, I switched to the camera. So it gives you an idea of exactly what you're switching to. Like, for example, here it goes to time lapse. That's the signal there. When I switch over to there, it gives you the camera icon telling you I switched to camera. And then, of course, the picture icon shows you I've switched to the regular camera mode. Now, when it comes to these modes and all that, of course you have various different modes. Like here, we have widescreen, and it gives you an option of like, okay, do you want to go wide? Do you want to go leaner or linear, if you will? Do you want to do any of that? Do you want to have the HDR on? Do you want to have RAW? Do you want picture? Let's see. It says turn on picture from manual control of stuff like that. It gives you a lot of options. There's no doubt. It gives you a lot of options depending on your preference, like with camera and all that. Like I said, get back on it. That's basically what it gives you. It's like it gives you those different options to go with. And it's the same with it's the same with all the other functions. Like with the time lapse, it gives you like the 1440p, 10x kind of option, stuff like that. Like the resolution is 1440. You could, I think, go between that and 2.7K from what it shows. And then of course it gives you that option. I think that's the only option it gives. And then the speed, of course, you can go from 15 to 5 to 2. Basically, like right here it says to 2, to 5, to 10, and 15. That is the time-lapse video speed. Basically, like how many seconds you want it to loop over, or how quickly you want it to loop over. Now, when you get to video, of course, when you get to video, it gives you, let me see what it is. It gives you options as well. Like, of course, it gives you the picture option to turn on. It gives you the stabilization option. It gives you the point of view option, which is either widescreen or normal. It gives you the low light option, which you can do auto on or off. Same with stabilization. And then the format, the resolution, it gives you right here where you see it says 4K 60 frames per second, but if you press on that, it gives you all these different options. Like here you have 27K, you have 1080p, you have 720, and then here, whoa, you have a lot of them. You have 240, 240 frames per second. You have 60 frames per second, but that's mainly with 720. But if you go higher, and it does give you a notice as well. But like I say, you go higher, and it limits, basically right here with the frames per second, it limits itself. So you go lower, you can get up to 200 frames per second. You go higher, you only get up to about 60 frames or 100 frames per second. So that's pretty good for an option. Now it does give you something else, like the camera icon here. When you press that, it allows you to either just do video or looping. The looping, of course, is like being repetitive and everything. And then it gives you like time warp video, time-lapse video, time-lapse photo, night-lapse video, or night-lapse photos, stuff like that. So, and it gives you photo, it gives you burst, it gives you night, height, and everything. Well, that's mainly with photo anyway. But like I said, these are the different options you have with, like with time-lapse. This is the time-lapse video, time-lapse video, or time warp video, time-lapse video, time-lapse photo, and then night-lapse video, photo as well. And then with the video, you have video and looping, and then with the regular photo, you have photo, burst, and night. Those are the options you're given, depending on your choice of how you want to use the GoPro. Now, here, you might wonder, okay, well, where's the battery packs at, right? Well, here on this side, you have the battery, and what you do is you got this little button. I don't know if you can see that very well. You got this little button here where you squeeze it, and it opens up the well, this actually, you actually have two little buttons. Actually, you have a button here. This button here actually, when you squeeze it, oops, you don't want to turn that on. That's the one thing you got to be careful about when you do these. You might hit the power button and start recording video or take a picture. But like I said, this here, when you open it, it reveals the USB ports. Now, one of them is bigger than the other, and I tried to use a certain USB cord because I lost the original, I think, to this, and it went off. The camera, not the camera went off, but basically the outlet that I had it plugged into went off, which was my alarm clock, which has a USB port and AC ports on it, and it went off. It went pew like that, because even though it seemed to connect, I mean, the USB thing connected with this, it wasn't the right one. But what I found out is I could actually use my Android A10e USB cord to charge this as well, because it's the same USB Type-C. Now that's basically now that's your USB charger port right there. Under here you have another button that when you squeeze it, you open it up, and it's your battery and SD card compartment right there. Like right here, I don't know if you can really see it, that's your SD, where my finger's at, that's your SD, and then of course this thing here, with the flap right here, is your battery. So that's your battery port and everything for it. The only thing you have to be aware of is when you take the battery out to maybe switch it out with another, is you could end up touching the screen here, and you got to really clean it to kind of get any markings off it. Now, of course, with any kind of camera accessory or any kind of camera, it does have accessories that it comes with and that you have to buy separately. For example, this is what it came with. This is what I primarily use at times, or I just set it on a stand like this. You know, like I could set it on something like, well, I'll just use this. I could set it on something like this, or a shelf like this, and I could do it without the stand. But this here is, a compartment. It's one of the accessories, or one of the stands or compartments it comes with. And when you put it in and you snap it like that, there you go. You can have it, you can hold it like this, stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Now, here's the thing. This here, now you don't have to always use this, because this is where the other accessories come in. Like you got a headband for it, you got a little cap clip for it, you got a tripod thing for it. All those don't really need this because they come with their own connection that is very similar. And all you have to do is unscrew this and detach this part, because as you can see there's like little prongs there, or little connectors. All you do is unscrew this, put it to the side, get the accessory you need, slip this part, this the carrier for the camera, you slip it on to whatever accessory that you want to use, and then you get the screw, or the screw provided, because they do provide the screws themselves for you, and screw it in, and there you go. You could start using it. I mean, this is how I've been doing, like I said, my package openings, my reviews, sometimes like with the Sally Plush and all that. As of late, I've been doing them by using the headgear that I put on my head, or the cap, or the clip, the cap clip. I've been using it to do it that way. So you guys can get a personal, first-hand, like a point of view. You can basically see me, or you can basically see the package openings or the reviews being done from like my own point of view. So that's what this does. And again, like I said, it has its own tripod. The tripod's a little tricky because you got to like really balance it. But the headgears and the cap clip and the headgear work good. You just got to make sure that it's always on constantly. So, but yeah, overall the GoPro is actually a pretty good little camera. The only problem that I think anybody has with the GoPro of any kind is the battery. You see, if you use the camera for too long, the battery starts getting hot. The battery, if not the camera, starts getting hot, especially if you use it in hot weather. I mean, yesterday I was at a family event, and I used this as part of, I used this to help film some of that event, and because it's been hot outside like it is today, that kind of contributed to this being real hot. As a matter of fact, one of my sisters was helping me with the camera, and they were like, "Brian, why is it so hot?" So it was basically it was the fact that it was hot outside, and the camera itself was getting hot as a result. And matter of fact, this morning when I tried to use this to do one of my videos that I actually had to redo later, it gave me that warning on the back that says camera is too hot, so I had to let it cool down before I started charging it. And that's the thing. And that's the one thing I should say that you have to look out for, because if it gets too hot, it'll cause the battery to get hot, and thus, even if you're charging it, it will cause the battery to charge slow. In other words, it won't get to that full charge unless it's completely cooled down. So you have to have something like an air conditioning on, like you hear in the background, or something like that, you have to have it at a cool temperature, and you cannot use it for quite some time until it's completely cooled off. But besides that quirk and everything, it's actually pretty good. And the camera is nice because it's basically it's an optical lens, which I think this should be, or should have been, I'm not really sure. But it's an optical lens, which basically means it shows you, like what you see with this camera, it's not, you can see a lot more with the optical lens on the GoPro. So that's the one benefit about it, is you see a lot more. It basically like how you see me now is nothing compared with the GoPro. Now the only disadvantage about filming with the GoPro is, unlike its picture mode, it doesn't have a zoom. I don't know if that's because I use 4K or not, but it doesn't have a zoom option. So without the zoom option, you'll pretty much see me like all like everything in the back of me. But that's the one thing about the GoPro. It basically it gives you a better perspective. It gives you a better wide angle and everything to go along with it. It gives you a better perspective of what you're seeing. Because to me it feels, and I'm not trying to discredit the camera I'm using right now, but it feels more professional. Feels more professional in a sense, and the picture in the end feels more crisp and cleaner. Not saying this one isn't. This one's actually pretty good. This lasted me for a while, but the picture feels more crisp and clear, and you can pick up sounds in the background sometimes. Like when the cooler comes on, you can still hear me. Like if you have a theater speaker system, you have one of those home theater systems, you could hear the voice in the front, but you'll hear what's going on in the back. So that's pretty cool. It's got that option. This one had it. I don't know what happened, but I have to hopefully I can figure that out. Like I was saying, basically this is actually a pretty good camera, and like I said, the only disadvantage about it is the camera will get hot and it will cause the battery to charge slowly. If you let it cool off, the battery will charge a lot quicker and better. But yeah, like I was saying, the camera, the optical lens on it is pretty good. It's a pretty good optical lens that allows you to see a lot of things. Now I don't know if that's because of the fact that I'm using the wide option or not, but I noticed that you're seeing a lot more than you normally would with some, like I said, not to discredit this camera, but more than you would see with the camera I'm currently using. But yeah, besides, like I said, the camera getting too hot, depending on whether or not you're using it too much, or it's hot outside, or whatever, it's a pretty decent camera, and it's good for on-the-go activities. Obviously, like if you're riding a bike, you want to use the the headgear accessory, stuff like that, or if you're doing a zip line, like Joe Vargas, Angry Joe. Over the past several months has uploaded some vlogs where he and his girlfriend would be going to Puerto Rico or Sao Paulo or wherever and going on the zip lines, and he'd be using his GoPro to film them on the zip lines. So it's overall it's a good camera, and my recommendation, if you need to get any more accessories besides, let's say, the head clip gear or the head clip accessory, or the headgear accessory, or the tripod, or whatever, my recommendation is this: get an additional battery, which I did. Get the charger, which I plan to do, so you don't always have to constantly charge your camera. You could just let it cool. Get that, as well as probably get an additional micro SD card, maybe one that's a little bit bigger, so you can have a little bit more space on there than just, like what I have on here gives me about 4 hours in 4K. But if you want more hours with 4K, get a bigger SD card. Those would be my only recommendations. Yeah, but the GoPro is a decent camera, and if you can get it, afford it, I think the cheapest it goes to is about $189. I got mine for about $230. So if you want to get it, go ahead and do it. From what I can tell, the GoPro 8 is on sale now at $299. So if you want to get that, go ahead. It's up to you. But the GoPros are actually good little cameras, even if you want to use them for regular vlogging or just doing reviews or talking. But that's not the only camera I want to talk about. One of the things that a lot of people like to do is live stream. They like to do live streams, do live Q&As, just live discussion videos, stuff like that. And that's where this comes in. It may just say webcam on there, but this is the Reefer 1080 webcam that I got recently. And it's actually pretty good. As a matter of fact, if you've seen some of my live streams lately, you've noticed how much clearer and crisper they've been. It's because I've been using this camera. Now, it does come with instructions, thank God for that. But this is the camera right here. This is the Reefer 1080 camera. If you will, get a little bit more light in here so you guys can see. But this is the Reefer 1080 camera, 1080p camera. It's got a mic. The mic is right here, as you can see. It says 1080p. It says webcam, of course. And the extension cord, even though I have it wrapped up, is pretty long. It is actually pretty long. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can bring this out real quickly without doing any. There we go. But excuse me there. But the USB cord is actually pretty long. You can see right there how long it is. It probably goes out of the camera's reach, but it goes pretty long. Now the camera actually works pretty well. It's got a little joint here that lets you move it up and down, and it has a little. It's got like a stand, if you will, depending on whether or not you want to, how you want to position it. It's like you want to position it on your table or something like that. It's got a stand like that. Or if you want to put it in the back of your TV, you could do it like that as well. And that's how I've been doing it with my laptop. I've been putting it on the back of my laptop. And the way you do it is you basically bring this down, you put it in the back of your laptop or your computer or your monitor, and you kind of close it up, just enough to where it kind of snugly fits in there. You have to adjust it just a bit, kind of center it a bit, but basically it'll adjust perfectly right there, and you'll get a decent picture in the end. And again, if you've seen some of my live streams as of late, that's how I've been doing it. This here, of course, you might say, well, what is that for? What's the little screw for? The little screw is basically for the little screw basically is for a tripod. It is for a tripod, and I'm actually happy about, and I'm actually glad that they put that in there, because I do have some tripods, but the thing is they've been kind of skittish as of late. And what I mean by that is anytime I've tried to use them, they've kind of like failed, kind of broke a little bit. So I've had to kind of work around that. But according to the instruction manual, and this is the manual that comes with it, it's not colorful or anything, but it's just, just enough to kind of give you an idea. As you can see right there. And then on the back here, it shows you exactly, what it's capable, how you can set it up and everything. So it's really nice that they added this. And again, it shows you like with the tripod or wherever you want to put it. So if you have a tripod, that's why, of course, the USB cord is as long as it is, as well as the fact that, it's got the screw on the bottom of it. So that's pretty cool. Now, you might say, well, now I know you might ask, well, what if what I'm trying to say is you'll probably be asking, well, what if it's not long enough? enough. In other words, what if the USB cord is not long enough? Like what if I want to live stream or film from a section in my room or my living room, but I need a longer cable? Well, that's a good question. And that's where I would recommend, as I shut this for right now, hold on for a sec. Well, that's why I would recommend something like this. Now, what I have connected here is my mic, my digital recorder's USB cord or USB connection, which I use when I want to transfer recordings onto my computer for future videos that are just audio picture only. So that's for my digital voice recorder. But if you need a little bit more length, then I would recommend getting an extension like this, where you could put the USB in the back there, if it fits, you know, like that, and there you go. You'll have your longer length that you need for the camera. But just like the GoPro, it's actually a pretty good camera, and unlike the GoPro, though, it doesn't have any options. You know, it's just a plug-and-play. It's like they advertise. It's a plug-and-play kind of camera. You get immediate use right out of it. Your computer will... The only thing you have to do is when you plug it in, you got to let your computer find it, set it up, and there you go. It's just like when you... it's just like... when you plug in a mic, like a USB powered mic of any kind, a headset, you know, you have to, the computer basically has to set up the drive, has to set up the device, and then when it's ready to go, then you're able to use it. And that's basically what the Reefer camera is. That's basically what this is. It's basically a plug-and-play camera to where all you have to do is just plug it in, let the computer set it up, and off to the races you go. So anyway, that's really about it. But it is a good camera. I got this off Amazon, and it has, if you look at the reviews, it has 5 stars. It's a 5-star review. People love it. They feel it's, they all agree that it's actually pretty good. Some have even showed visual representation of how much of a difference it makes. And yeah, it's pretty good. It's a wide angle, 90 degrees, optical lens. It's pretty good. It actually makes your live stream that you do feel a lot more crisp and cleaner. I mean, I'm not saying anything against the built-in web camera that I have with my laptop, except I think anybody knows that when you do a live stream through your webcam on your laptop or your computer, that basically there will be some lagging. Not saying that you probably won't get it from something like this in the long run, but right now it feels more crisp and cleaner. And especially when you're using it to do a live stream on YouTube, especially now if you use Google Chrome or Fire. Hey guys, sorry about that. Yeah, my battery basically died, so I have to charge it while I'm doing this. But anyway, like I said, basically when it comes to this camera here, to the Reefer webcam, I highly recommend basically, you know, when you're using it, basically you go to Google Chrome or Firefox or whatever you use for your live streaming. Once this is already set up and everything, when you go to live stream on Google, it'll pretty much know exactly what the camera is. It'll give you, by default, it'll give you your laptop, your computer's camera that you use by default. But then when you click on the camera, like you want to change cameras and all that, on the bottom it'll give you the other option for the Reefer camera as well. And mostly that's what you'll probably be using if you get something like this, which is a 1080 or 4K one. You'll be using that over your regular defaulted laptop camera or computer camera that you have built in, or your webcam I should say, that you have built in to your laptop or your computer. But like I said, both cameras, the GoPro and the Reefer, are pretty good. The optical lens on both is really good because it gives you more of a shot than what you have right now. And also, it's crisp and clear. It's 90. Both are 90 degrees. I think 90-degree wide angles. Like I said, when you film, so you get more of a visual of like more of that widescreen feel that you're supposed to get compared to any other format. Again, nothing to discredit this camera that I've been using, the Canon, the Canon, the Canon, what is it? The Canon HFR 500, the Vivx, yeah, the Vivx HFR 500. Nothing to discredit that. Nothing to discredit that. It's been a good camera for me for a while. The only thing I have to do eventually is get a new battery pack, because it seems this one just keeps, you know, just like forget, you know, it's like this battery pack just seems to keep on dying. I don't know if it's because the plug's not working correctly or what's going on. But anyway, like I said, getting back on point, the camera, the wide angles, they give you a lot more, and a lot more options, and it gives you a lot more visual scenery than expected. But again, they're pretty good. Like I said, the GoPro I got for about $229. The GoPro 8 is like $299. That might be going down. The Reefer webcam that I got is $29.95 on Amazon. Maybe, and I think about 60 something more if you want to go for, and I think $40 more if you want to go 4K, or $20. I think between $20 to $40 more if you want to go 4K, and as well as 60 frames per second. But overall, they're both pretty good cameras, and I do both highly recommend them. So that's really all I can say. But yeah, the GoPro 7, depending on your preference of silver or black, and the Reefer 1080p camera, I highly recommend getting them, guys. I think you'll get a lot of use out of them down the line. And that's all I'm going to say. So let me know what you guys all think down below. Thank you all for watching. Sorry for the various interruptions. But thank you all for watching, and I'm out.